we are swooshed out of the before times. Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Failed Portrayal. Are you ready to rescue?
It's time to get racing.
Yes. But not some other race thing. There's a dash in our ace.
You made that sound way worse.
Listen, MBT is a born hater, and he's bold enough to, like, throw jokes about it out there. I'm like, listen, YouTube gets on my ass for nothing at all. I literally can't make a Final Fantasy XIV stream without it getting tagged as possibly suspicious to advertisers. I don't know if we want to be saying, jokes about it. It's time to get racist. But yeah, this is a rescue ace. Literally, a rescue ace.
Yeah, and
we're all up in it.
Right off the bat, we have a couple of interesting concepts that this deck is themed around.
Yeah. In my mind, I always think that some of these guys are water. That's incorrect. They are all fire type. They are warriors and machines. I think the reason why I think that is because one of them that was released later is blue. But no, he is indeed a fire also.
Yeah, we have mostly machines and a couple warrior lads that are boys. The rest of it, like the rest of them, like there's one level 1 machine, and all the other high level guys are machines, and 2 4s and a 3, I think.
Yeah.
The levels are already all over the place, but that's not what this deck is. This deck is not an Xyz deck. This deck doesn't have an extra deck, does it?
No, not at all. Actually, this is another case of, like, honestly, I think this deck is of mixed popularity. I do think it got oversaturated, and I feel like our current price point discourse we are constantly in started really with our ace decks because they had a couple of, it was a deck build pack, so guess what? Some of these guys are going to be ultras and secrets, and then also something we're going to talk about probably in more detail in a sec, but this was, I think, the first deck you tacked the Diabell engine into. So, this was a very pricey deck that was very good.
Yeah, because at the time when people were splashing this with Diabell Star / Snake Eyes, it was just Diabell Star, Poplar, and Flambird, right? Basically.
I don't even know if it was... I think Poplar was a little earlier this year. It may have just been some of the other extra guys. Yeah, Poplar's pretty new.
It was... I forgot. It was Diabell Star, Ash, Flambird. I forget the order.
The bare minimum package,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a deck that, is it a precursor for a lot of where the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame is. I think, though, it's decently popular because it's a pretty cool aesthetic. It's fairly distinct. Obviously, it's not perfectly unique, as evidenced by the fact that I was able to make a reference to a season of Power Rangers, which was also, a Super Sentai season, obviously. But the wiki also believes that it is based off of Tomoka Hero Rescue Force, which I do admit... calling it Rescue Force and some of the vague vibes they got a lot of R's in there. They're literally called the Fire Defense Agency apparently in that show according to Wikipedia. So there are some thematic crossovers.
There is
the fire engines.
There's one of the images I threw up last week that we can probably just throw up for a second to kind of the collection of various toys, I guess.
Yeah. Copy image. Also, chat, you can see the Rescue Ace crest in the corner where you are. But yeah, so this is the Tomoko line with the branding of that. So yeah, I think definitely with the more vehicular angle, there's a little bit more inspiration of that. Lightspeed Rescue integrated multiple vehicle types. Our Ace are all about fire.
Yeah, because the idea of Lightspeed Rescue / Go-Go 5 was what was more of just a general we are a first response team. Yeah. We have an ambulance, we have a fire engine, we have a airplane, a jet carrier thing, an excavator. Whereas Rescue Ace or Tomoka Rescue Forces, no, they are the firefighting.
Yeah, they're firefighters, and so are the Rescue Ace we see. We have a little bit of a blurb on them from the valuable book EX number 3. Rescue Ace are the special forces under the jurisdiction of the city's Emergency Disaster Bureau. There's an exclamation point there. Every member of the force is super elite, who has undergone harsh heart, skill, and body training for even years and cleared very strict exams. There were 2 exclamation
I like
points.
the idea that even years implies that, like, no, that they it has to be an even number of training.
Yes, I
If you odd
suspect
training, you have to do one
this.
more.
I think this translation is either overly literal, or it is actually written that stilted in Japanese to be funnier.
Yeah, which either way works.
Yes. But they are, strictly speaking, they are officially dubbed with a, like, giant text. Super Exo Armored Special Forces, Rescue Ace. So, yeah, these guys are mecha and exo, powered exosuit-equipped firefighters who fight fires. Why do they need so much high-level tech? Why is there so much fire? I do not know. Call me when we get the Tokusatsu villains of this series. We get the fire starters.
We get Firefly and his 7 other goons.
The rescue arsonists or whatever.
Yeah,
however you make that work.
We glossed over it, but the other part of the naming scheme that in Japanese the Rescue Ace is shortened as R-Ace.
Yeah.
Which is straight up it's a firefighting mnemonic, which is rescue, alarm, confine, extinguish. Which I think it's instead of alarm and confine, it's alert and contain, but
yeah.
the same principle.
Yeah. And obviously they've done a couple of gags in there, because there are actually there are 2 E spells. There's emergency and extinguish. There's 2 R spells, reinforce and rescue. Yeah. There's no second A or second C spell yet, but Konami actually did, I think, a smart thing and left themselves enough wiggle room in the theme that they can still reasonably come up with, levels. It's not like how for Hero we had, one spell for every letter, and we've just stopped, even though letters besides E call have not been relevant for like 15 years.
Yeah, because it's H-Heated Heart is what, 500 piercing?
Yeah, 500 pierce.
Is
at a
just
normal.
A reborn for a vanilla.
Yeah, it's a normal only.
And I don't even remember what the R is.
R Righteous Justice is destroy spell traps equal to your number of heroes. It's basically Stratos not on a body.
Yeah, it's bad Stratos.
Yeah, so it's funny, it's cute, literally only E-Call for, which admittedly E-Call is being an in-archetype searcher is like a prototype of a Yu-Gi-Oh card that almost everything that can be called an archetype has these days. You have a guy who is an E-Call, or you have a Stratos, which is a guy who E-Calls on summon. Or my favorite move, E-Call for Stratos, summon Stratos.
Yeah.
Ashen is probably going to be Rogue, because we brought this up when we did them in more depth last stream. You can check that out the stream. They definitely feel like they're an anti-meta pick. Like, they work off of basically, like, super polying, popping your opponent's spells, and like, Lair of Darkness style type, like, field control. Which is, like, funny, but will always be kind of in a weird niche. Bug on my monitor. Get off of there. But yeah, so Rescue Ace is, like, thematically very cool, and I think they have a very neat visual style. We'll see more in depth once we go through the guys. And I'm pretty sure we have to start with a level 1, just because he's, like, literally, I do believe that Hydrant is name-checked by some of the spell and traps as well, so we'll start there. But they have a good aesthetic, they have a pretty solid baseline, and they're definitely an interesting... This was, I think, a time when Konami was willing to push decks that are completely main deck focused. They do not have an extra deck package, which means you can much more freely access the extra deck.
Yeah, because like
obviously we see this with Snake Eyes still.
Is that aside from us having 2 4s, there is no level overlap. There is no tuner. The only thing they have in common is that they're all fire monsters, which runs in with the Year of Fire, Promethean Princess, Diabellus,
No,
as we
like,
mentioned
they,
before.
like they very much like fire type links are very available, and I think that this deck was made to be compatible with cards like Hita and eventually the Promethean Princess, you know, and so on. But it is also, like we said, they're fires and machines, which there is some extra deck overlap there, but they deliberately like didn't give them access to tuners. They don't have access to a fusion spell in archetype, where I think a lot of machine types live in the either being the, you know, big Xyz or fusion deck, like Sidra being, you know, mostly fusions and a couple of links and a couple of Xyz, but you know, it's because the levels line up. So, like, this was definitely part of a big push. I won't say, well, I do think that Rescue Ace is one of the first, like, Year of Fire decks. This wasn't the first time Konami was pushing the main deck supremacy. Labyrinth is arguably, like, from just, like, one deck build pack set ago is another example of a, hey, this deck does not require the extra deck, but put whatever you want in there.
The funniest jumpster you can do in this deck is summon Auroradon.
Yeah, if you are allowed to do that.
Yeah, because it is just machine monsters.
So yeah, it doesn't seem like S-Force and Rescue Ace are in the same setting, because the S-Force are like extra dimensional time space cops. The whatever. I mean, I shouldn't say whatever. Obviously, this is inspired by a TV series that, you know, or multiple TV series that are marketed to sell toys and accessories to children. The Rescue Ace has the same vibes as, like, the theming of a Lego set. Like, if you were to get Lego Super Firefighters, build your fire engine today, that would be this. Like, so the fact that I assume the Rescue Ace Mega City has to be grossly over budget, or there just has to be so much fire, they're still out here. And, you know, we have our first guy, just to give you an example of the aesthetic up here. This is the one of their key pieces, one of their starters, Hydrant. He's important to the combos. He's name-checked by several cards. Hey, this is a level 1 fire monster.
A level 1 fire monster?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, he's called Hydrant, so he's here. He's a Hydrant.
It's not only level 1 fire monster. It's level 1 fire monster. Oh no, it doesn't. Never mind. I read the first line of text and assumed it was going to say special summon this monster, but it doesn't.
No, he's not a free special, but he is part of your moves. But yeah, Hydrant is described in the valuable book as the on-site terminal mecha. So yeah, that's what he is. He's your on-site uplink, I guess, and also possibly still functions as a hydrant. I don't know. He's got a lot of lights and tubes and stuff.
Looking in the art of looking in the art of our main 4 spells and traps that have like the big like the alert, like the callouts. It is hydrant projecting them.
Yeah, so, and you can see him holo projecting right now in this shot. So
yeah, he
seems to be your on-site, you know, control. You show up to the fire and the little hydrant will be like, you know, alert, contain.
Yeah, and this lad, no stats. This guy is not fighting.
No, he is a as mentioned before, a level 1 fire machine. 0/0. You know, just this is a card that you can tell is a utility piece, and if this deck was meant to be synchro focused, he would probably be a tuner. But it's okay because Jet Synchron exists.
Or he would be Scarecrow. He would be the Scarecrow equivalent because he has the same effect as Scarecrow, where you just can't attack this guy.
Yeah, so it says first line of first effect text is, while you control a Rescue Ace monster other than Hydrant, your opponent can't target this card for attacks or with card effects. So just nope. And you can only use each of its effects following once per turn. You can activate a quick play spell or trap card that was set by the effect of your Rescue Ace cards the turn it was set. During your main phase, you can add a Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand except Hydrant. So that is neither of those are, you know, quick effects. Those are all like a lot of, you know, special conditions and continuous effects. But Hydrant basically lets you set up to instantly use your back row when you set them, which is a thing this deck is going to do, spoilers. And also, it has a during your main phase effect to search. So it's got a reason to be summoned out, but my remembering of what this deck does is a little loosey-goosey, but I'm pretty sure this is not meant to be your typical normal. You can obviously normal him to search for something to use in your hand, but I feel like you want to be specialing Hydrant off something and then use its search to get further plays. But it is a very key part of your goop.
Glancing at some of the cards, like you said, they do like the main four do name check Hydrant and will basically say, if you have Fire Hydrant, fuck you. You like if you have Fire Hydrant, the opponent can do nothing about it.
Yeah. Which is annoying. But yeah,
especially because you can't attack or target this guy, so he will just stay on board.
Yeah.
And the spells and traps just get extra effects while he's on the board, and you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Like he doesn't have actual protection. Like he doesn't have like hard protection. So if you have board like sweeping effects, you can get rid of him. But it's still a
well,
major,
and it's one of those things where like
hurdle.
if to spoil a little bit of the strategy here, a lot of what Rescue Ace is going to be about is trying to get lines to your big guy so that you can set 4 cards in your back row, and those combined with your monster effects is probably going to ruin your opponent's day. Obviously, some of them are quick play cards that you can activate right away, or if you have Hydrant, you can activate your set traps right away, you know, if you're not searching them out of your deck. But it is, I would say it is mainly a control strategy where you set up your board and you look to contain fire. Yeah, Hydrant is not a poplar.
The fire, the fire is your opponent's board.
Yes. So in some cases, I'm not like sad that this version of the deck seems to have fallen out of vogue, but it is very interesting to see like the classic Yugi player mentality of just like going, oh, this deck took, you know, a couple of hits. Primarily the next guy we're going to look at actually is part of their initial wave and has seen some time on the list. But, you know, the deck takes a couple of hits and then you just, you know, get the shiny new stuff and you're like, oh, we're out of here.
While it is control strategies will always have a strange place in Yu-Gi-Oh! Mainly because control in Yu-Gi-Oh! Generally just ends up being stun.
Yeah. People will, so long as you give the players stun tools, they will turn a control deck into a stun deck.
Yeah.
As seen, I believe, you know, many people are going, oh, look at the Raleigh results. The ban list didn't do anything. That may still be true, but also, I'm going to guess most people were playing pure Snake Eyes because it was a good deck and they just didn't want to change a week before the event.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Shit.
Like the ban list came so late into the game for people prepping for the YCS who had probably been labbing this ban list for at least a week or two before the ban list drops. The ban list drops, and they go, well, I can't I would assume 90% of people go, well, I can't afford to completely switch my strategy, so let's just do some minor tinkering to my deck and hope it works.
Yeah. And that minor tinkering appears to be, we literally replaced Barone with Bestial Dispotter, and we replaced Borreload with Cyframe Omega.
Yeah.
Cyframe Omega, a card which is already a limit 1. I'm pretty sure he's been banned before. While I think it will still be a couple of, a few months before we get another list, I would not be surprised if we don't just throw him back in jail as well.
Yeah, I'm glancing at a lot of, I'm glancing at a lot of Snake Eye Snake Eye Rescue Ace builds from like a few months ago.
Yeah,
and it does kind of stick in the vibe of we are just jamming. Like when I said seeing that these are Dia Bellstar Rescue Ace, we're not even playing the Snake Eyes cards. We're just playing 3 Dia Bellstar, 3 Sinful Spoils,
yeah,
and 1 Snake Eye, and then Rescue Ace cards.
Yeah.
some of
But,
these builds
you know,
are just not even doing the other Snake Eyes part. I don't know if it was before they were out or just because they weren't good yet.
Yeah, some of it was because they weren't out. You know, Snake Eyes is arguably had a very extended wave of support. Like literally, I think in the Nightmare set that's about to come out is I think we're getting Snake Eyes Diabell Star, like her wombo combo form. So like they've had a very drawn out level of support, but it's very interesting to see. But yeah, I'm looking at the list and like talking about that move towards stun and stuff. Like no offense to the guy who got second place with Labyrinth at Raleigh, you know, you're doing God's work, but you can definitely see the direction the deck has gone. You know, first of all, just straight up like calling your shot. We're main decking the one copy of Rivalry you're allowed to play, and main decking 3 Nib. We're just like, yeah, we'll need it.
And sometimes you do.
And then the side deck is full of like all of the funny one-ofs, you know, you'd expect, like one Change of Heart, a couple of Full Force Virus, because I believe EEV is like the Bander Limit one right now, a Feather Duster, a Snatch Steal, that kind of shit. So like,
oh my, I'm looking at the, I have one Diabell Star Rescue Base deck pulled up from like one for every month this year so far.
Yeah.
This first list is truly, I do not know what is being cooked here. This extra deck is, I don't think we're actually trying to do it, but this extra deck is Dark Fluid Turbo.
Well, Firewall is back and he's bigger than ever.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's Diabell Star, the main Rescue Ace package, a bunch of hand traps. Like in January it's triple Ash Blossom, triple Droll, double Ghost Spell.
That's another thing that we're seeing a lot. Like I'm literally looking at the list from Raleigh, the top 4. Like the 4th place Fire King Snake Eye is main decking 3 Veiler, 3 Droll, 3 Ash, 3 Nib. Like this is a thing that does kind of worry me, that they are running 2 Kirans. So you can put 2 Kiran to 1 and get there. It's just that like these decks are already so slim with their numbers of the cards that matter for just name checks that like they're running so much non-engine, and I'm just like, damn,
well,
that sucks.
So it is actually interesting. Our February list is triple Ash Blossom, triple Veiler, triple Imperm. Our March list is double Veiler, triple Droll, triple Ash Blossom, triple Nib, triple Imperm. And our April list, I guess Droplet, that's it. Like, there's no hand traps in this. There are no actual hand traps in this March list.
I suppose one of the things that will bring that back in.
We have replaced the hand traps with the Snake Eyes package, which is probably why.
Yeah.
But it's just all gas in this April brew.
It'll be funny. This was also brought up in chat, but I was going there anyway. Tenpai is about to be live and going to be super budget, other than the Trident Dragion, which again is not 100% necessary. That is a deck that does not die to hand traps, and none of the currently in the meta hand traps work in the battle phase. So it'll be really interesting to see if, like, do people do the classic thing and just, like, cut Droll for 3 Battle Fader, you know? Or, like, will we actually try and, like, broaden our horizons a little? You know, I think MBT did, like, a short, like, checking in with what the meta might be like, and talked about, like, people are already planning on citing and, like, threatening Roars again. Which
will be funny to see that card come back.
Yeah, the meta is always so wild. So we'll see a few brews, but yeah, the nature of control decks is to lean more stun, or stun 2, or stun 4, or stun 13, whatever we're up to.
I will never forget the week or 2 after Psyframe topped, where everybody was jamming debug into their side decks because they thought Psyframe was going to be the next best deck.
Yeah,
it's always hilarious to me seeing, like, I don't want to call it a knee-jerk reaction, but like that instant, like, oh shit, that deck top, we got a plan for that.
Yeah, no. I've while just scrambling for other, like, content to listen to while doing various other things, I watched back some old MBT Twitter thread videos. It's always funny to see some of those historical leaning threads where he talks about, like, weird times Yu-Gi-Oh players did something, like whether it's the Ancient Leaf buyout or just you know, you just think a deck's going to be good, and then you're like, shit, what do? We're going to start, you know, jamming other stuff into our side. Or main decking. It's crazy. Anyway, this is Airlifter.
Is there? Yeah.
On screen. This is one of the guys that makes my brain hurt because he's mostly blue. That's not a bad thing. It's just it makes me think, oh, he should be water, right? Or maybe wind? No, fire. All fire.
Yeah, and Airlifter is like he is the guy of the archetype.
Yeah, it would be him or Impulse.
He's at 1 in the TCG. He's at 2 in the OCG. Yeah. And he's probably staying there for a little bit. He's not insane. But,
no, but to be fair, I have to double check. But I believe that the limit 1 in the TCG went into effect with our Jan 1 ban list.
Yes.
That means that this guy was legal at 3 for about a year because Amazing Defenders came out in mid-January last year, 23. So, like, you know, you want to talk about them. Maybe they have not, you know, been as fast on the shootout with Snake Eyes as they could be. But, like, if you're wondering, like, why is Airlifter still hit? Well, it's because he lived at 3 for a whole year and was probably pretty good. Aesthetically, by the way, his name is Air Hoister in the OCG. I think Airlifter works a little better in English. You might call something an Air Hoister, but, you know, Lifter makes sense a lot better.
I usually have Edo Pro open in the side to just have a full list of the cards to glance through, and he's still called Air Hoister and Edo Pro.
Yeah.
His proxy.
His edits don't get edited a while. His description, because there's no... Again, the detail in the valuable book is very narrow. It's mostly just like they set up a really cool like collage of images and some big text. But Airlifter is described as the aerial maneuvering super exo armor. Rescue Ace Airlifter. There's a lot of super exo armors involved in this.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said, he's probably a bit too busy, but also this guy is meant to be flying into a fire, so I can in this scenario I can forgive him for being decked out in mecha gear so he does not burn alive.
Yeah.
It like while it's busy, the reason it's busy is understandable as opposed to just being busy to be busy.
And I will say that Axe and Loth aren't here yet. They're both delayed by stuff. They'll be hopefully joining us before this episode ends. We did go on a long tangent about the history of Snake Eyes, so they might actually make it because Rescue Ace, like I said, this deck is only a little over a year old.
Yeah, and it's 15 cards total.
Yeah, and they shockingly again, because this deck has been very relevant since it was printed, have not added a lot to this archetype. Funny.
Yeah, which is like we're at that point in our failed Portrayal cycle in our deck build packs where most of these cards aren't gonna have later support, either because they're too recent or because they were too good.
Yeah, and we might start going back to like doubling up when some of these are very narrow, but I'll see about scheduling that out. Though luckily, for like the very latest deck build pack, we just got like their like third-ish wave of support announced for the next set in the OCG. Like they're adding like 2 more Mementos, 2 more Valmonicas, and 2 more Centurions.
Yeah, I have not looked at the new Valmonica stuff, but I've seen people hyping it up, which makes me interested.
Well, the Centurion's weird because that's talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Players getting into like engines and stuff. Centurion is a weird deck because most people don't use it to do its own thing. They realize that it's a very good engine in which to make Crimson Dragon and make King Calamity. Yeah, a 10-star Synchro Turbo, which turned into King Calamity. Turn off your turn. Obviously, with Barone being banned, with King Calamity being banned in the OCG, and probably eventually going over here, I just don't think that any of the TCG meta decks are actually trying that hard to go Crimson Dragon Turbo.
Yeah, like it's kind of interesting how we've entered a weird reverse where the OCG seems obsessed with King Calamitying, whereas everybody else is like, yeah, but Snake Eyes still just wins the game, so who cares?
Oh no, I can't activate effects of monsters on the field. Well, my graveyard and my hand are still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting case where those guys, but most people are talking up. I think the Valmonica and the Memento cards are good. Memento will also be very fun to talk about because that's an archetype that is based on retro cards.
I'm going to take a moment and pull up those two cards. I do recall.
But while you're
is that not? What the fuck is Leah's Twitter?
Actually, hold on. Did I?
There. Okay, I was misspelling. That's why.
I don't know if I grabbed that one, but I think I've got. Yeah, I got the organization open. I can also just link it up in Field Trade.
I found them.
Okay, I'll link it as well for later. But yeah. So I brought up that Axe and Loth aren't here earlier because I think I would be remiss, other than just in general, it's funny we're having a Tokusatsu type episode, but Airlifter to me still, even though he is a little busy, like you said, he still screams toyetic to me. Like,
yes.
This is a guy who's meant to emulate a TV series which has a line of action figures we would like you to purchase.
This is our Ranger and Battleizer form.
Yeah,
and he is as miserably over-designed as Battleizers will always be.
Yeah. Now, like, some of the layers make sense because it is supposed to be an exoskeleton, so, like, he's got, like, an underlying bodysuit, and he's got, reinforcements for his legs with some stuff going on there.
Actually, you know what? Because we're here's the Lightspeed Rescue Battleizer.
Well, yeah, I realized the click was coming, and I was just like, yeah, hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, it's that guy. I remember this one. I remember seeing this. It'll be a big image, but there's your comparison. Put that over there. Yeah, no, definitely those kinds of vibes. Thankfully, Airlifter's feet are not nearly as dumb. His arm things are almost as dumb. I don't know what those are. I think he's got, like, Iron Man style, like, jets or repulsors in his palms, or is that supposed to be off his wing pack? I don't know, but he's got, like, 2 flashlights in his arm.
Yeah,
arm?
I'm not quite sure what is happening.
He's an airlifter or hoister, so, like, I guess he's supposed to, like, pick things up, but does he just, like, does he have, like, tractor beams in his arm? Does he have a coil of rope back there? I'm very glad we can't actually see him from behind, because looking at all these edges and lines, his, like, wing backpack thing has to be very greebly. Lots of little sharp edges and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I think yeah, on retrospect, especially because it's the same color as his, like, waistcoat jets, which, like, that's a neat idea that I like in, like, mecha and armor design, is, putting extra jets in there, but look at these lines back here. You can't even see them all. His back has to be real fucked up. It's no tire shoulders, but, like, it's fucking wacky.
Look, oof, ouch, his back.
Yeah, probably. Though it is a powered skeleton, so, he can lift it all at least.
To discuss what Airlifter does, he's a level 4.
Everything.
He's a level 4 warrior, so you can run to this guy.
Yeah, he is a level 4 warrior. I do actually think you played your one of Rhoda in this deck.
You definitely do because you have 3 warriors, and all of them are pretty solid.
Yeah, you'd play a Rhoda, you'd play a 1-for-1, because that lets you fetch out Hydrant for free. Yeah. But yeah, he's Fire Warrior.
When Airlifter is summoned, normal or special, add a Rescue A spell from your deck to your hand. Already pretty good. That's already good. His second effect, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field. Quick effect. Tribute this card from your hand or face-up field. Special Rescue Ace monster from your hand, except Airlifter. You can only use each effect once per turn. So you can instantly see why this guy was... why this guy is the one on the list.
Like, Airlifter is not quite a Poplar, because he doesn't have, like, a special summoning condition, but he does do a lot of the similar things, and he does a thing that is very annoying for hand traps, which is he tributes himself to activate his effect. That means you cannot imperm or Veiler him, because his effect is to tribute, so he's not on the field anymore.
I figured out how we get Hydrant onto the field, Omega.
Oh, is it the next one?
It's the field spell.
Ah, the field spell, okay.
The field spell gives us another normal summon.
Oh, why would you do that? God, field spells are... You can tell how much Konami loves an archetype by how cracked their field spell is.
Explicitly a Rescue Ace monster, but another normal summon. Like,
Yeah, no, an extra normal in your deck full of, fire toolboxes.
Yeah.
Crazy, I know. That also screams to me that, like, shout out to Konami for the restraint, but I think they always knew this would be a deck that had Link plays. And thankfully, they did not include any in-archetype Links to mess that up even further. Because they would either be bad because they would not be access code, or they would be yet another generic Link monster you could play. But yeah, Airlifter is, I can see why he's on the list. I know that, like, MBT and a couple of other people I've seen have said, like, oh, why is he still on the list? Let him out. He's only been at 1 in the TCG for, like, 4 months, you know? Do you want to, like, immediately make Rescue Ace Snake Eyes the, like, 3rd best deck? Bonfire will probably, like, it may be Limit 1 eventually, like Rhoda is. I don't think Bonfire will be hit for a little bit, though. That set is still pretty recent.
Bonfire has, like, as much as I am one of Fire's strongest warriors, three Bonfires too much. That is,
yeah.
That is insane.
Honestly, I think the other than, yes, it's also a new product. The other thing now is that, like, Konami has to know how expensive Bonfires are, and, like, as much as it's not going to be their fault if they actually limit it, there are going to be some guys who are going to, like threaten to eat Konami. Actually, I think this happened after we did our last failed Portrayal. Konami had to put out a fucking message that was like, hey guys, it's Konami policy to ask you not to fucking harass our staff. Please don't do that. We will have to ban you from events. Because, like, people got real nasty in the comments with, like, Trident Dragion and the ban list and shit.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that, like, every single time Konami puts out any piece of social media tweetage when it's ban list season, people are like, where ban list? And then when the ban list comes out, you're like, the ban list, that fucking sucked. Why did you announce it now? It's terrible. Like, they're in kind of a no-win situation, and, like, Konami doesn't need me to go to bat for them. I'm sure they make loads of money, and I think there are some decisions in how they choose the rarity of cards and the discretion of things, you know, that could be better. But they do try sometimes. We've talked, not at length, but talked a decent amount about how Tenpai Dragons are going to actually be super budget. You know, none of those cards are, like, higher than super, I think. So, like, they make moves, but people in the Twitter audience get real nasty. They get real nasty thinking that Konami can't shoot back. That is
unfortunately the nature of Twitter in general. I feel.
Yeah. But it is an interesting case where, like, they have to know that, like, the comments would be even worse if they announced Bonfire to 1. People would be like, I, sold my kidney to afford my playset of Bonfires. They're worthless now. How dare you? Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too, chat.
Yeah, like for every person who is crying over Bonfire to get hit, there's gonna be for every 5 people, there's gonna be 3 other people who will want to burn down an OTS because their $300 Bonfires are now useless.
Yeah, no, and, like, eventually, I do agree with you. Like, Rhoda has been at 1 for God knows how long. I think Bonfire is gonna, call me back in a year. Bonfire will probably be in that place after it's been reprinted in a tin or a maximum gold or something. Konami will get their reprint money, and then they'll be like, all right, fuck you, this card's going. But, like,
I
damn.
know it was hit sometime after Teller Knight's World's Top, which I think is like 2016.
I mean, depending on what they do for the World Champion ban list, I can't imagine that some variation of Snake Eyes will not be the World's deck this year.
Wow. Oh, never mind.
Rhoda been goosed a little bit longer than you think?
Reinforcement of the Army has been at 1 since 2009.
Yeah. Ooh.
It was at... I didn't even realize this. It was at 3 for... It's only been at 3 for 2 formats. Oh, this is the OCG. That's why. Never mind. This is the OCG list.
But, like...
TCG list.
Rhoda is very strong.
There we go. Okay. It was at 1 for a while. So it was first put at 1, probably around the same time it was as the OCG, because that's when lists were still coherent. But it looks like in 2014 they brought it at the end of 2014. They brought it at 3. It was at 3 for about a year. then put back to 1 and they've never looked back.
Yeah,
which was around the time I thought, which was around the time that Stellar Knight got a world's top.
Yeah,
so
I
was
realized
right.
that like, nope, we can't do that.
3 Rota 3 to Neb is a lot in Stellar Knight. It turns out.
Yeah, no, I mean searching is good. It's why Bonfire's probably gonna get got. But we'll tag our next art in here. This is Rescue Ace Fire Attacker. It's a jet that attacks fire. It's pretty good design, honestly. You know, I've seen stupider mecha designs. You know, you got the big fan blades for the VTOL thing.
It is a it's a fairly simple like VTOL hovercraft dealio.
Yeah. I think you can see it's got both a water cannon to shoot out the front, and also looks like it's dumping the like extinguishing powder or water as well.
You know, we can't see the bottom, but like we can see the water, like the airdrop from below. I don't know how well that actual hose right below the cockpit is going to do.
No, but I'm sure in the TV show it looks good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For toys it makes sense, but logistically it's probably useless.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, this is like a VTOL, though it has a pretty broad wingspan, so I don't know like how much. You already don't do that with like firefighting helicopters anyway. I don't know how you do that with a big ass, you know, reverse delta wing plane. But it looks neat, and it's got like really good coloring with like primarily reds and whites, but they got a little bit of like the blue siren highlights and a little bit of yellow, kind of an orangey yellow in there. It looks good. I assume that this has to be because it's like in mid-flight, but it does bother me slightly that it looks like the rudders are out of sync. They're not all leaning the same direction.
Yeah, that's an odd perspective fuckery.
Yeah, I don't, you know, it's like the artist, you know, figured out what the direction the motion or the wind was coming in, and then they fucked up one of their lines, and they're like, nobody will notice. Oh no, I've drawn a 35-degree angle instead of a 45-degree angle. Nobody will care. But overall, looking really good. This, you know, much more so than Airlifter, I'm like, yeah, no, if I was a kid, I'd be like, man, that'd be cool. I'd want this one. It's a good guy. So this is one of your machines. It's one of the higher leveled ones. This is a fire machine level 6, 2222. I am not 100% sure, but I do believe the Rescue Ace monsters all have the same attack and defense stat. Like each of them has a parity. Because Airlifter was 1717, Hydrant obviously was 00. Okay, so
they all do share the same.
They have a funny little sub.
They have a symmetric stat line.
But Attacker says, if a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special, except Attacker, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a card is added to your opponent's hand except by drawing, draw 2, discard 1. You can use each effect once per turn. What a great fucking card. An engine card. Just, first of all, it has a summon condition that is just whenever. You know,
you could even call it a fire engine.
Yeah. Whenever a Rescue Ace is normal or special. By the way, this doesn't say your Rescue Ace, so if you're playing the mirror, it summons itself. And it's got a better body than Sidra. And then, just, you know, if your opponent draws, you know, or adds, you also instantly get to fish for more hand traps. Which is obviously, like, not perfect. You know, most people would probably prefer to stop an ad or a search with an Ash Blossom. But if you don't have Ash or, you know, the Droll or whatever, you can always use Fire Attacker to just dig a little deeper, and it's got a decent stat line.
Yeah, and like just in general, like any card that says any card that they just allows you to cycle, pretty good. That's just always pretty good.
Yeah, if I may once again tangent a little bit as well. I've been trying out the new Triangle Duel event in Master Duel. It's very interesting to see all the loner decks and how at least one of them in every group seems to be a horrible dud. God help you, Konami. I don't know why you tried to make Ursa Arctic a thing.
when you make 9 decks, when you make 9 event decks, you can't have all of them be hits.
Well, it's true, and some of them are like directed by like difficulty to play, but that's not necessarily their power level because like Ursa Arctic is the 3-rated deck in Synchro. It's a terrible deck. Don't play Ursa Arctic. I've seen people trying to make it work. It does not work. Don't do that.
I have not played Master Duel in a while, but the last event I played that I did stream for a bit, I don't remember what the event was, but it had the Draco Slayer, this like pendulum soup deck.
Yeah.
And that's one of those decks where like Pinned in general is just a weird, like it's a fake deck type at this point.
Yeah.
But I would call it unwieldy as opposed to bad like Ursa Arctic, where if you have a grasp of what the cards can do, you can make some good boards with it. Ursa Arctic,
yeah, and you want to talk about like
it's not
unwieldy decks
designed to work.
But yeah, I don't know what the quote unquote bad one in Xyz is. I know that one's been like the least popular format. In Fusion, they gave them dual avatar for some reason.
Oh yeah,
and that hasn't really done anything ever.
It's at worst a secondary like toolbox you toss into something.
Yeah. But the other 2 fusion decks they picked were pretty good. I played both of them. They had a Dark World Fiend fusion deck, which you want to talk about unwieldy. Good. Like, Dark World is fun, and playing with Dark World fusion stuff is actually pretty interesting. I know that I think MBT and a couple others were like, oh, Chlorless finally came out, and he sucks. Don't actually, like, I know it requires you to run Rainbow, the original Rainbow, who sucks. You can also just play King of the Swamp, who is a card who doesn't suck. But the ability to make a guy who says, when this card is fusion summoned, destroy all cards your opponent controls, with a quick play, because Dark World Ascension is a quick play fusion card, pretty solid. The fact that you can also make Chlorless fucking huge because it's a 1 Rainbow plus as many Dark Worlds as you want to use. Keep in mind, Ascension is also a Banish fusion. It's a Miracle fusion.
It turns out Black Rose Dragon is still pretty okay.
Yeah, no. Especially when you're playing against an event with a more limited ban list. Like, there were multiple times I got myself out of a situation by just nuking the board and making a Chlorless who was like 5k or something. Pretty spicy. Yeah. Oh, they have Tistina in the Xyz period? That's the one that's bad then.
Tistina! Peeps! The best deck!
Oh, I should see if Peeps is like got archives of his Tistina Chronicles somewhere. Cause like
he does. No, it's on his YouTube.
Okay,
I'll
watch
video.
the videos.
I recommend everyone to watch it. It is. I don't think I mentioned it before. It is him bitching about how the deck sucks as he cannot lose a game. It's the best.
Yeah, it's that sounds very funny. I should check that. But yeah, Dark World is a deck that has that complexity. If you don't draw the right cards in Dark World, you die. You're looking at a handful of big assholes you can't summon. Or worse, you're looking at little Dark World guys who don't do anything on summon and no cards to start discarding, and you just go, well, guess I'll die.
Not to mention, with it being a loner, you're bound to run into the Dark World Mirror, which is just...
Actually, like, I think they made it so that because it's team-based, you can't run into your own team. I don't think I fought any fusion decks when I was playing it, so...
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot that's how the event is designed.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God.
God help me, I ran into...
the
Dark World Mirror sucks ass. I know.
The Dark World Mirror is probably one of the worst mirrors, aside from maybe Cypher, as someone who's gone through that myself, too.
No, the Dark World Mirror is terrible.
The Cypher mirror... Wait, what?
What's up?
Loth did MBT just put out a Rescue Ace video? He did!
What? Cross promotion branding!
He just put out a Rescue Ace video a minute ago!
What the fuck? Mr. BT!
It's a collab!
Are you stealing my content?
MBT's stealing our content! But no, yeah, there are a handful of there are a handful of mirrors that are disgusting. Dark World is terrible in that you just like every single effect will cause 7 things to happen. In Psyframe, it's just who who gets wind up rabbit first.
Yeah, Side Frame is a game of who blinks first, because you can neither of you do anything until one of you does something.
Yeah, it is just a game of it's a game of whose tech is spicier. Are you playing Meta Ion? Are you playing Card D? Are you playing Wind Up Rabbit?
Yeah, something will get in there. But yeah, so I played the Dark World one a lot. The other deck they did, which actually taught me a new deck that I quite enjoy, actually, is the third one is Chimera Fusion, because all that shit just got released. That's actually, you want to talk about tight engines? Yeah, that's actually a really interesting deck. I will say that with the Loner, my primary strategy was get enough cards so that I could set Chimera Fusion and always make sure that when my opponent goes, I could make Guardian Chimera and pop one, and that was it. But sometimes you got to do more stuff. There are a lot of weird, funny interplay with a lot of those cards. So, like, I'm actually, like, interested in the Illusion Soup type decks now because, I mean, I kind of was already, but getting to play them is very interesting. Synchro, I will say I think the Synchro lists are pretty base other than Ursartic. The most popular is the 1-star, the 1 difficulty one, which is Red Dragon Archfiend, baby.
RDA!
There's so many of those fucking cards. And it is... I don't know if it's the best Synchro deck, but it is, like, the most consistent. I think that Red Dragon Archfiend these days plays itself. I think you could give a coughing baby the Red Dragon deck, and it could play it. It is so buttery smooth these days.
The RDA archetype, like, suite of cards, like the red, the resonators, everything in between. They have just released so many random little bits and pieces over time that deck has just been so streamlined to the point where it's the reverse of it's the reverse of a Galaxy Photon, whatever you want to call that, where how that deck has so many pieces that nobody knows what they're playing. The RDA deck has been refined with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, no, and guess what? All of those cards lock you to Dark Synchros or Dark Dragon Synchros. Guess what, baby? That's great. We love that.
That is every red. That is every red Daemon's Dragon in existence.
Which I'm pretty sure you can build a 15-card extra of nothing but Red Dragon variants.
100%.
But also, the deck doesn't care. And the other Synchro is Fabled. DZ reference. I actually managed to Fabled Unicorn somebody out of the game earlier today. I played enough cards so that we were down a couple cards, and I set up Unicorn, and it was just like, nope, you don't got nothing.
Yeah, so not even counting all of the other, like, red Synchro monsters, there are 9 red dragons.
Yeah, nope.
Granted, that this counts the 5 different versions of Red Dragon Archfiend, like Red Dragon Archfiend, Hot Red, Scarlight Red, Scar Dragon Archfiend.
Yeah, but those guys always do something
all the other
else.
Upgrades. But yeah.
But those guys are all pretty unique, and we've talked about all of them before somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very funny. We got some very, very fun little guys. But that detour aside into the new event, though I will say that expect to see some quality content from your favorite Yugi tubers. Not me, obviously, but other people. Mostly because I don't do like short edited bursts of Master Duel content. I'd probably die if I had to watch recorded footage of myself playing Master Duel and cut it down. But they've announced another duel trial, the Skill Drain duel trial. So much like the Nibiru trial, where they just stuck an extra nib in both players' hands on turn 1, they're going to do a duel trial where both players start with a face-up Skill Drain on the field. That is going to be very funny, but also frustrating to a lot of people, I think.
The funniest way to build around that is just main deck 3 Trap Eater. Who cares?
Yeah, actually, I strongly suspect that Snake Eyes will probably still be good in that event because you're all about sending spell traps.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting. But let's pull up our next guy. We've been jamming around a little. This is honestly a card that should probably be more iconic because it's literally Rescue Ace Fire Engine, but is merely one of your all right guys. Talking again about some of the busyness. This robot boy's got a lot of stuff going on.
he's got a lot of stuff, but I feel like for the most part, it is fairly easy to comprehend.
Yeah. Funnily enough, thinking back to that battleizer we saw earlier, this guy actually has the like dual water cannon arms.
He's got the busy feet, but he is a mecha, so
yeah,
it's not as egregious because you don't have to worry about where the hell his feet are because they're not real feet.
No, yeah, they're and again, thinking about how toyetic these guys are, he's got big stompy feet so he can actually stand upright because otherwise he would fucking fall over because he's got
the giant stompy feet to deal with the fact that he's got like 2 nitrous boosters on his back. He's got a hacksaw on one side, like a crane arm on the other.
Yeah, or maybe it could be like a Jaws of Life situation. Like, but yeah, he's got big crushy grippy claws and a saw. And his big gun arms.
This guy is just a rescue hero mech. Like, he is that rescue hero mech toy. If I can find him.
No,
I've looked at rescue hero mech and I found him instantly.
He's vibbling. And it's funny because like I say that you would assume this guy is your core, because and if Rescue Ace was a deck like in an anime, this would probably be your protagonist central guy. This is a level 7 fire machine with 25-25. He has, like protagonist ace stats. But there's one more. We go beyond. But yeah, no, I think this is a good design in spite of its busyness. I actually don't know if there's 2 that are bigger than him.
There's Preventer and Turbulence.
Oh, is Preventer also? Okay, Preventer's 28. Okay, I wasn't sure. But like I said, it is interesting how like we take the stats and appearance that this should be a key guy. Oh, I forgot to say earlier what Fire Attacker's subtitle was. Specialized air vehicle. Fire Engine is mass production general purpose machine. So apparently there's supposed to be a lot of that guy.
Which does kind of fit with the way he just has like 4 different things on him.
Yeah.
He's meant to be general use and not a specialized like rescue boy.
He is just their equivalent of a fire engine, a fire truck. He's just like he's got all the stuff they need. This has basically the same effect that not Airlifter. What was he? Fire Attacker.
Fire Attacker.
Yeah, Fire Attacker has where if a rescue ace is normal or special to your field, so not either, but special to your field, you can special summon it from your hands, except during the damage step. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can special summon a level 4 or lower rescue ace monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can use each effect once per turn. So yeah, this is...
Which will more than likely be Hydrant if he's not on the board.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, chat. OBS disconnected for a second. We're back. You didn't miss anything. I just saw the alert. But yes, the way Fire Engine works is, he's the engine. He deploys you to the field. There you are. It gets any of your little guys and other stuff going on there. And, definitely makes it, like, a pretty key to this. I actually kind of appreciate that for a main deck-focused deck with a bunch of different high-level guys, a lot of them have this effect to just be like, oh, if you normally special another Rescue Ace, you can fetch this guy out. Only once per turn, but you can get, multiple guys on board really easy. Going back to that conversation about Dark World, nothing feels suckier than when you have a handful of big dudes and you lack the engine pieces to, like, get them out of your hand. But yeah, Fire Engine, deploys into your next ones. Alright, and then our next target is... Impulse.
Level 3.
Yeah, level 3 warrior.
This guy, he's just a guy. Like,
yeah,
he is probably the least designed card we'll see all night.
Yeah. And I think it's better for that. Like he's
yeah,
looks like a fairly normal firefighter. His subtitle is standard model super exo armor. So this is the basic firefighting man gear.
Yeah,
it looks like he's got a little extra on like his legs and knees, and he's got a little extra on like his arms and back and stuff. Got an
where
oxygen tank.
Fire Engine is our standard, like our standard issue, just mech. Impulse is our standard issue man.
Yeah. I do kind of like this, like, looking a lot like it's a translucent, plastic like effect on his axe blade.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. He's got an actual fire extinguisher with him. He's got what's probably an oxygen tank to give him clean air because he's all masked up, looking good.
The main thing that loses me are the nozzle pauldrons. I don't know why those are there, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's an extra detail that shows up in a couple of places. I assume it's related to like the flow of his air tank, probably. But
it's a bit.
They're comically large on him. Yeah,
they are bigger than his head.
Max is here. Yes.
Oh,
I said it'd be a little late, but I had to say goodbyes, so I was in a thing. So I'm here now.
That's fair. Oh yeah, we're talking about this man of fire.
Yeah. How deep are we in right now?
We're a few. We're like halfway
problem.
through their monsters, but that's because we've been taking a very roundabout run.
I mean, I assume you covered.
We've been here an hour, and we have probably spent half the stream not talking about the fire race cards.
I assume you talked about like the promos earlier.
No.
We mentioned we mentioned them, but I don't think we're going to talk about them because they will be a deck build. There'll be a deck build pack. We'll get
fair enough.
Yeah, we will eventually talk about Memento, Valmonica, and Centurion like as their own bits.
Was more so just like it came up in the conversation. I went looking for them because I remembered where I could find them.
We may later. We got some imports. Some promos. Pendulum Witch finally came out in the TCG. We'll also be happy to know that Synchro Zark is printed in English cardboard now.
Still need to.
And there are a couple of weird. What they call free agents, right? There's a couple of just, extra guys in, Legacy of Destruction we might talk about because they're funny. But
there's more Galaxy cards, just because even more, they might actually become a two-parter one of these days.
Eventually,
well, some of them are Photon cards, so we would probably split Galaxy and Photon. Except
you do Photon first. You do Photon first, then.
Yeah, do Photon.
Yeah,
Galaxy. Maybe Tachyon its own episode.
Tachyon's only like.
I mean, they're trying to make Tachyon more of a deck.
I look up Tachyon. There are 10 of them, but half of them are also like Galaxy cards.
Okay, so yeah, they're not quite their own thing yet.
They're mostly extra deck cards.
But yeah, so
like we have Tachyon Transmigration which is just if you control Galaxy Eyes, activate his Chain Link 2 or higher Omni Negate.
I love that card so much.
It's so weird.
You need a require Tachyon monster, which in most Galaxy decks is only like literally I think 1 or 2 cards in your entire deck, so like it's kind of rare, but otherwise it's like now it's searchable, so like it's actually maybe reliably okay.
Yeah, we'll see when the light pack comes out if that actually makes certain brews of Galaxy more meta.
Galaxy is weird. I say this for another time, but going is Galaxy is defined by a lot of its later end support makes it just able to do a full combo based off 1 or 2 cards.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've ran into a few people. It's not a loner deck, but I've ran into a few people playing Galaxy Eyes in the Triangle Festival, and that's a deck that's very hard to counterplay when you're working with loners because it's like, well, I've only drawn 1 Ash or 1 Imperm. What's the target? And half the time it's like, oh, I had the, I didn't, necessarily have any other extenders from this, but I had another starter in my back pocket just in case. But yeah, this is Impulse. This is our normal fireman. I would say this guy looks a little more on the toyetical side than looks more like an action figure than like a suit that you'd see in a live action series.
Like where Airlifter is very much like the big man in suit. This guy feels more like he's a background character that will get a toy.
Yeah, honestly, him being like the standard issue, because admittedly, logically, it doesn't necessarily make sense for you to have a transforming style theme of guys where you also have generic firefighters. This guy feels like he's a red shirt basically. They'd send out a lot of these guys and maybe they can fight whatever mooks are. I don't know what you do in a rescue themed series like this. Like what? Just guys made of fire? What if they're putties but they have big C4 on them? They're just bombs.
I don't actually remember what the villains were in Go-Go 5. I don't remember like what the premise of them was.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Weren't they like demons?
The Disaster Demon Clan, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, a clan of demons that cause disasters.
That fits certain folkloric themes in Japan.
Yeah,
I feel like the Lightspeed Rescue, the Power Rangers season, went for more of a little like it's subtle, but it happened occasionally with when they did the translation, where it ended up kind of a subtle like magic versus technology thing. But yeah, Impulse feels like a red shirt. Like you'd see, you know, a bunch of extras in this costume go against the guys, and like they could probably take out a similar number of you know, the mooks, the general mobs. But the moment the like monster of the week shows up, you're gonna see like 10 of them flying around Star Trek style. So this guy's 1515. He's a level 3 Fire Warrior, in case you forgot that we said that earlier. He says, during your main phase, you can choose one effect monster your opponent controls with the highest attack. Your choice, if tied. Neither player can activate that monster's effects on the field this turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, tribute this card from your hand or face-up field. This seems to be a recurring sub-theme in Rescue Ace. Special summon a Machine Rescue Ace from your deck. You can use each effect of Impulse once per turn. So Impulse is basically your hand trap. Makes sense because he's supposed to be the mass product, you know, the standard issue kit. This guy, like, jumps in one of your big machines at the drop of a hat. Just brings them out when you need them. His non-activating, like not negating but prevent activation effect is interesting but very fiddly.
It's a really funny way to word it.
Well, it's because it's not negation, so it only means you can't activate their on-field effects. So if they have a graveyard effect or some other kind of floating effect, it still works.
I am double-checking this. I don't think people run Impulse. Oh, no. Okay. Most recent brew is running 3 Impulse.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Because,
my mom called, so I had to step away.
It's probably because Airlifter got limited, you know? So, you know, you just need bodies anyway. Impulse is interesting. I think he does stuff that a lot of interesting, you know, other deck build packs are doing. Like the furniture side of Labyrinth, you know, the little guys going into your traps has a very similar vibe. This guy, you know, fetches out one of your machines. Probably Turbulence, but there are other choices. We mentioned Preventer as well. But that's not where we're going just yet. The next one will be the last of our our warriors.
The last of our men, our Intruder.
Yeah.
Oh, no, our Monitor.
No, yeah, because Intruder is his name in the OCG, and I'm just like, I do not get that. That seems weird to call a firefighter Intruder.
I read that. I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
So this is, the TCG calls him Rescue Ace Monitor. This guy is a big chungus.
Yeah, this guy... If you thought Airlifter's Battleizer was a lot, boy is this man not running.
Yeah, that said, this looks the most like an actual like powered exo armor of the
I just think of like because it looks like a guy wearing like the heat resistant like clothing under it, but it's like Power Wash Simulator Kaiju Fighter Edition.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, he is. You can't see he's got pants under there, so it's not like full body covering. But this is
there's a firefighter under that. This is entirely like a walking fire truck.
Nothing in his trivia seems to have any inclination why he's named Intruder.
Yeah,
in the OCG.
Let me see what the no, it just says enhanced protection super exo armor. I don't know. Like I said, the lore for Rescue Ace is very thin on the ground. It feels very much like one guy really liked that one set of toys or that one, you know, TV show and was just like, I'll make a Yu-Gi-Oh theme around that, and just kind of they vibe.
Don't worry, guys. The fencer from EDF is here.
Yeah, that's another one. It's like
Fair.
you know, Japan loves their little mini mecha dudes as much as they like their big mechs, so it works. Once again, he's like borderline too busy, but I think it works. The like dark, almost blackish red of a lot of his body with the brighter yellow, like really vibes. He's got a little bit of brighter red highlights in there.
I think all the rest race monsters, aside from maybe the next one we'll look at, depending on which one we do first, like all of them have complexity going on, and they are busy designs, but they are riding that line right before it gets too busy.
Yeah, because like, with the exception of maybe Airlifter's backpack, so far all of the guys we've looked at, they're not like Cross Crusader, right? Like, none of these are non-Euclidean. We can look at these guys and be like, okay, I can identify what all the parts are. This guy does have a giant backpack that appears to have 2 sirens on it, but sure.
It has 2 sirens. He has 2 Blastoise cannons.
Yeah.
But he also has smaller cannons for his arms.
Yeah, he's got some big water tanks back there. But that's fine. He's a giant firefighting, power armor. Of course he does.
Yeah. Like the busy aspects of the design make sense. They they do not feel pointless.
Yeah.
Is the main thing happening here with a lot of these designs.
Yeah, we're like, I don't know if the previous ones have this, but there's a sense of like, it's. I need to double check ostentatious what it means, or maybe just. Not egregious, but
a little over-designed.
I'm more thinking it's like overwhelming in presentation, but it has a practicality in what it's used for.
Yeah, I don't actually. There should be an adjective for like the one-word meaning of going big or going home. Like it's very
going big or going home, but like for like an actual purpose.
Very magnified, very amplified, right? But it makes sense. Like it's big, it's in your face, but. That's the point. The point is to be like, these guys are super armored fighting fighters.
With them having a alleged connection to a Toku toy brand, they're like making them have these loud and in your face designs that feel very toyetic.
Yeah, makes
sense.
No, it works.
Yeah. Also, go.
Staring at this guy, I only get vibes of fucking Blastoise and Pokemon, where he should be shooting water out of his cannons, but in terms of game animation, the water will be coming out of his face.
Well, he's got the spotlight there.
I just like it's like there's all like the safety lines because it's like they're meant to be like easily identifiable visually.
Yeah, they've got bright colors, which again look like they're made out of like translucent plastic, so it really pops. I would say that Monitor here has a better use of his weird shoulder valves because they're still there, but they're kind of off to the side, so the way he's framed up, we don't see them as much.
I feel like those are actual for pressure adjustment from external.
They probably are, but they're very big and very silly. I think they were weirder.
It's in the same vein as them being on Impulse, where they do not stand out to the point that they are unneeded, but they are large enough to be large enough to be distracting.
I feel like they're large enough so the big robots can still move them without difficulty.
Yeah.
So Monitor is our last for now. Preventor's big. Last warrior type. He's a level 4, 18/18, so he's the toughest one. It's enhanced protection, so it makes sense.
It is a dude inside armor.
Yes.
It's not just a machine.
No, this is the last of those. It is the actual firefighter. And here it is, chat. We finally found the normal summon. If this card is normal or special, add a rescue ace trap from your deck to hand. He's along with Airlifter also works in there. And also says when your opponent activates a monster effect in the field, you contribute this card from your hand or face-up field. Target a rescue ace in your graveyard except Monitor. Special summon it. You can only use Monitor once per turn. So I do believe that's kind of like
he's the reverse of Airlifter. Yeah. He's not worse, but adding trap cards and summoning from graveyard is not as flexible as adding spell and from hand.
Yeah, he's a card that occupies the opposite space from Lifter. When you're going, you might want to summon him going first so you can add a trap card and have it be set for turn 2, though there are ways you can do that anyway in Archetype. But definitely his hand trap effect works a lot better on the crackback. Like, you've already gone first and set up, and your opponent is now doing things, putting your guys in your graveyard. But he's still useful. And yeah, that does conclude that I was right that their warriors do have that sub-theme of tributing themselves from hand or face-up field, which is a very fun way to handle them being in hand, you know, not discard or send to graveyard, tribute in hand.
I always think, to me, that makes it feel like they're just going into the vehicles.
Yes, and I believe this was just before you got here, but we, and I don't know if Loth is in this part, but we talked about Fire Engine, which is supposed to be their, like, standard model mech. That has the ability to fetch out a guy, a like, level 4 or lower monster from hand, deck, or graveyard. Obviously, you usually use that to go into Hydrant in gameplay, but in, like, the fiction, the feeling of the deck, that feels a lot like the Fire Engine delivers a guy, the guy pops out, and he's like, I'm here now. And then the guy will be like, oh, something's going on over there. Let me jump in my giant robot. You know, they kind of, like, hop back and forth.
It's like, let me like, go press the buttons and summon the mech from the air, from, like, the helicarrier.
Yeah, no, I was there for some of it because I was just listening while I was just waiting for the bus.
Oh, so, like, the hydrants are basically, like, emergency delivery pods?
Monitors.
I don't want to picture the fire hydrants being a delivery service. That's just for water, not for delivery.
This is the second guy who is blue and makes me think some of them should be water. It's Preventer.
And this is the guy that I feel. Well, I don't think this guy is a bit too over the line for me. I think it might be because he's blue instead of like the red and like the
I
red
also
and black.
think he's got a few too many fins.
I'm more too bothered by the tanks on his back. It's like, I hope that's a secured well, because that doesn't look secured that well at all in the back.
Nah, they are kind of sticking out there. They're kind of.
It looks like those just, like, get bonked off really easily.
It's okay, guys. We have wind up at home.
But I guess it is meant to be a mecha version of, like, Lily Forest Fire helicopters.
Yeah, it's is it actually Preventer in the OCG? Yeah, it is. So
what the fuck is he preventing you from losing your virginity?
No, only you could. Actually, no. Loth wouldn't know that, right? He's foreign. Only you can prevent forest fires.
He's from the land of fire.
Smokey the Bear.
He's from the land of forest and fire training.
Haha! You revealed your power level. You knew who Smokey the Bear was.
Yeah, because people online won't shut the fuck up about Smokey the Bear.
Listen, it's a very prevalent campaign in America to tell you to stop fucking starting forest fires. Don't start fires in the forest. Nature will do that on its own.
Your cigarette butts in the forest.
Sadly, people here should know about the dangers of forest fires. The ads we get is stuff like every K over is a killer. For every kilometer you go over the speed limit.
I mean, we do have some similar ideas over here, but yeah, no. Yeah, Preventer is bordering on the over-design.
Yes, please.
I think his, like, weird sword gun hands are also supposed to be like sharks or something, because, like, with the way they've drawn those yellow streaks, it really looks like eyes, but they're on both sides.
Yeah, I just feel like it has too many separate parts that, like, are detachable.
No, that's what I first thought. I was like, this guy has to be a pain in the ass to, like, assemble. He's got so many little sharp edges and bits.
Are these, like, missiles of, like, fire? Like, I guess
they're like
extinguisher
fluid.
Tanks.
I just realized something that to me would make this better. If this was a power up to a different suit.
Yeah, if this was like the bits you put on another suit, but no, I think this is a new model.
If this is like Mech V2 Forest Fire mode.
So I will say we don't know a lot about this one because this is why Vesper said earlier we didn't know what order we're doing these in. This is their +1 card added. This was in Duelist Nexus, like, after all the others were in Amazing Defenders. So, like, this is the one they added later, and thus is basically excluded from the valuable book lore, which is already really skinny.
Maybe this is why it's like I feel like it's just too much, because it's like I don't hate it. I just feel like I need to see it in a different angle to comprehend it. Actually,
I would actually like to see this guy's concept art because I want to, like, see all of him.
Yeah, unlike a Cross Crusader, I don't dislike this design. I just can't. I don't
understand.
Whereas with Cross Crusader, I don't want to comprehend it. I cannot comprehend this.
Yeah,
There's too much happening in this card art.
What's up.
Yeah.
But so Preventer was one of the ones that was added. He is a level 8. He's 28, so yes, a little bit bigger than Fire Engine. Kind of an interesting place to be in. So this guy says you can banish a Rescue Ace card from your graveyard to special summon it from your hand. So it has a inherent special, but a slightly different mechanic. If you control another Rescue Ace monster, quick effect, target an effect monster your opponent controls, Book of Moon. Face down defense position. So he is indeed just a Book of Moon. If this card is sent to the graveyard, target a banished Rescue Ace monsters except a level 8, special summon it back. You can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, Preventer is just kind of another extender in your plays. He gives you a way to disrupt your opponent's, effect by being a quick effect Book of Moon. He has a floating effect to bring back any of your banished Rescue Aces, so he kind of like turns into a +0 ultimately to fetch out a guy from your banishment. And is an easy guy to special summon. If you can find the concept art, link it to me in the description. I'll see if I can grab it. But yeah, Preventer is an all-right card, but I feel like other than kind of like rounding out the names in your deck, it's not a necessary one.
Yeah.
Book of Moon type removal is good, but not perfect. Again, I know this from there's a decent number of cards in the RDA deck that make you go face down defense because they want you to like summon Red Dragon Archfiend and blow up all defense position monsters. But if you don't do that part, sometimes monsters are still big. Guardian Chimera has a fat ass, and so Rescue Ace Preventer similarly is like, well, that's good, but that's not like you can't activate their effects this turn type good. But it is a quick effect, so you can do it in response to some stuff. So it can be helpful. Though obviously, if your opponent is playing a deck that has already made a Link monster, you cannot put them in face down defense position.
It's unfortunate. Also, because it's very relevant in the current format, at least it was before Link Karibo was banned. It was very interruptible with a card like Link Karibo. It's like, oh, you're gonna flip in my face, my Poplar, Link Karibo. Yeah. Fuck you.
Just eat shit there. Which also actually is another thing that like quite a few cards are designed to dodge those kinds of interactions. We talked earlier about how they themselves, that tributing on field effect the Warriors have means that you can dodge a lot of that targeted prevention with if you have quick effects. Your opponent tries to book your guy, you're just like, cool, I'm out of here.
It's even what some of the littler guys in this do. Like it's what the fours do when the effect is activated. They can tag out. So
like it's helpful, but also it leaves room for other improvements. I think the main thing is just that he's basically a free body who floats, so you can use him to like access your banish and get your stuff back. But here's the big one. This guy was on the key art for the booster set. This is one of the big monsters. This is Rescue Ace Turbulence.
This is Fire Hydrant's big brother.
Yeah. Marked as the specialized land vehicle. Yes, this is the big boy.
This is the one where I image there would be the at least like the 10 to 15 seconds like lock-in sequence where it's like the smaller mech down there rolls up to get in and then like twists in place.
Looking at all this guy's little bits, this I talked before about how some of these guys look like toys I would have thought was cool. This is definitely the one that I would see in the commercial and go, that's rad, and then it would cost you like $80 or something, and you'd be like, oh no, because this guy's like huge. There's definitely a transformation sequence for this. Like he's got like at least 4 like tread leg things, possibly more. Like I think there might this one on the side means he might have 6.
He's got 4 tread legs. He's got a battering ram and like he's got like a battering ram style thing.
Yeah.
He's got 2 like ladder water jets.
Yeah.
I stepped away, but has anyone mentioned that this just looks like a Machina Fortress, but they've just co-opted it?
I was thinking about that with the way he's got the.
I can see the same
developer.
Like
it definitely does kind of look like a. This looks like a demilitarized Machina. I like that he's got a built-in carry handle, like on the toy. You're gonna want that because I bet this fucker is heavy. But he's got a
also
lot of
image-
little joints and articulation that I like.
It's just funny seeing the little mech just be like, yeah, I'm at the front piloting this.
Yeah, I
It is like a
have been
Rexo
reading. I have still been reading the OG Yu-Gi-Oh manga, like the Duelist manga.
Oh, the story one.
Well, the Yu-Gi-Oh Duelist is just Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, the
Oh,
MTG.
fair enough.
The little mech in his lap just reminds me of Merrick on Raw.
It is kind of like that, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this guy is pretty large and in charge. Very clearly a design that says, yes, hello, I am the boss of the archetype.
I just
And
remember what I was going to say.
He is 3K.
Yep.
And he's the man we mentioned 2 hours ago that will set 4.
Yeah. This is the card that your entire deck rotates around getting to.
I don't know if this is weird to say, but I kind of maybe eventually we'll get to see like I don't know, like the weird like fire hooligans that these guys fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mentioned that way
we
earlier.
mentioned
I
that
would like to
earlier.
see what they're supposed to be fighting because they are literally these guys are billed as a special operations force under
I see, like-
city emergency disaster.
I don't know if they want to do literally like Ifrit hooligan, like Ifrit like fire, like Ifrit arsonists, or like
little
I don't know, or
guys,
like or like a fucking like Sukiban gang of just fire
I think that
spirits.
would be cool as like another Fire Fiend archetype.
Mhm.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, fire fiends.
I really like the
Also,
idea of
hey,
it.
OCG. You're gonna have to invent Dark Pyro support anyway now because Ashen came out, and you're gonna need to sell those to the Japanese consumers.
Right. Okay. I'm stupid. Guys, guess what the Fire Fiend archetype is?
What Flamel?
Infernoid.
Yeah, Infernoid.
You're right, but they're a bit.
Infernoid
They're
are
like
weird.
they're like a different thing though.
There could be other fire fiends.
Oh no, I was more like I was like there has I was more saying to myself, it has to be a Fire Fiend archetype, right?
Yeah.
Like, there has to be. That has
But
to
they're
be.
like a
I knew
weird,
there
like-
was one, but yeah.
Yeah, but they're like a weird pseudo
God.
ritual deck.
Sorry, no, I'm just thinking to myself, can you imagine that dumbass, like, the dual terminal lore is happening, and then these guys just show up?
They
I
just
mean, that would
drop
be like
in.
early dual terminal. I remember the fucking X-Saber lore we got. Hey, did you know the X-Sabers are mercenaries? They have swords. Some of them have
Did you-
cyborg parts.
Did you know that one of the X Sabers died and then they changed their names to Double X Saber? Why? Gotham said so.
Because they wanted to basically be like that they have upgraded themselves to twice.
Gotham's thought Soza was really cool, which I have to question Gotham's taste in men.
Because I feel like Soza, he might have been a cool dude, but he seemed like he was scummy. But he just looked scummy.
Yeah, he had one of those faces. But yeah, this is Turbulence. This is their big guy. Has an animation and everything. Level 9 machine fire, 3K, as you mentioned earlier. First of all, this kind of sets the archetype that Preventer would slot in earlier. Turbulence says you can banish 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. So he is a special summon on banish 2. Not quite a drooler, because he is only from hand, but still. Banish 2 to summon. During your main phase, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells / normal traps with different names directly from your deck. There it is. That's it, chat. It's just you banish 2, summon a guy who's fucking 3K, and you get to set 4 for free.
It is just once per turn during your main phase. Fuck it.
Hey, guess what? Set from deck dodges Ash Blossom. Which, by the way, is really mean that this guy gets to fucking set 4. Like, Lab can set 1. That's pretty spicy. This guy's like, nah, 4, man.
This guy gets to set 4, and your opponent. I don't think there is any. I don't think there's any interruption that gets around this aside from just a pure negate, right?
Yeah, no, you would have to, like, when they go declare Turbulence, you're like, cool, Valor, you know? Like, you'd have to imperm or Valor them at the when they activate the effect. Assuming that you haven't already, used up your interruption on another place.
Also,
Yeah.
if the other cards you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, except during damage step, target 1 card in the field, destroy it.
By the way, that's not if one of your cards leaves the field. That's just anytime your opponent does a card effect that makes a card leave the field, you get a
No,
free
it
pop.
is a card you control.
Oh, yes, it is you control, yeah. So it's...
A
So,
card you control by an opponent's card effect.
so even if you draw the out, even if you start move 1 Lightning Storm, you can't have any kind of setup or anything in your back pocket. Your opponent will start popping stuff. Like if you're ready to go and then you're like, you start removing, they get to pop, and it is once per turn. You can use each effect once per turn, but it's still a interruption when they start to remove that stuff. Like there's a lot of really interesting opportunity there. And yes, we will talk about what all the quick plays and normal traps you can set are. But yeah.
Yeah, we've buried the lead for like an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah, but Turbulence himself is a big chunker, and it's crazy that, like, admittedly, while I don't think that Fire Ace Pure, I don't even know if they have enough names really to run a pure deck, right? Like you have to crank some non-engine in there.
They have 15 names, so like you could in theory run a pure Rescue Ace deck with non-engine hand traps, but you've got at like you're half and half on low levels and high levels, and your low levels can go into your high levels, but you definitely need some kind of other shenanigans.
There's some ratioing in there involved, so you got to work on it. I'd hate to open up turn 1 game 1 and open like 2 spell traps and all 3 turbulences, right? So you got to watch your ratios, but it says a lot that all this guy does is set 4 in your back row and then get you an extra pop as an interruption, and that's pretty good. That made this archetype a meta-relevant deck skeleton to like start plugging other stuff into, and it's pretty spiced.
Now the main thing to note that some people don't always realize: setting a quick play spell is like setting a trap.
Yes. You cannot activate it right away unless you have a hydrant on the field, which says you can activate your quick plays and traps the turn you set them. It makes Rescue Ace a lot better going first, but still have room going second. Real quick before we talk about the specific style of the spell and traps, going to mention their field spell really quick. This is Rescue Ace HQ. It's an HQ. I bet you see this a lot in transition shots in the TV series. I'm not really sure what the fuck is going on here because it's very weird, but we're showing, I guess, like, holograms of all the hydrants around the city giving you updates.
Yeah, I think the idea is that this is the mother hydrant or something. It's the neural network that controls the hydrants or whatever.
Yeah, so it's plugged into all the hydrants and it's displaying like screens that have all the little, arts of the spells we're about to see. There's a lot of tubes going on. It's pretty normal. It's a field spell. It's fine.
My only thought is that, like, in the mainframe, occasionally it would just be like, help, little kids are using me for playtime. This is not appropriate use of funding.
There is a cat stuck in a tree. So, HQ is their field spell.
We did mention something this card did a while ago.
Its first effect, though, is while your opponent controls a monster, all Rescue Aces you control gain 500 attack and defense, which is good modulation. This means Turbulence is 35-35, which is a very big pain in the butt to deal with.
Yeah, and it will make your airlifter and monitor over 2K, which is generally like it'll make all your boys not named hydrant at least 2K, which is generally like a big cutoff for like attack benchmarks.
And we did mention earlier what it does, which is during your main phase you can normal summon a Rescue Ace monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. So you can not only get more extension by allowing an extra normal summon of hydrant while you control a guy, or summoning your guys who search on normal summon, but also that makes it a really good attack modulation because this means you get multiple normal summons of your 4 or lower stars who are quite large, and then also soft once per turn. You can target 4 of your Rescue Ace cards that are banished in your graveyard, shuffle those back into the deck, and draw 1 card. It's all. I mean, it's not a quick effect, but it's a soft once per turn Runic Fountain type effect. You just fucking stack 4 of your Rescue Ace cards back.
Yeah, it's not as flexible because it has to be 4, but with the way this deck functions, where you're going to have 2 banished by default with Turbulence, and you're going to set 4. You're already you're halfway there. You're halfway there.
Not to mention, you may have had to tribute a guy to start setup to search for your Turbulence or set up stuff.
Yeah.
you may have more guys out there.
You're going to have bare minimum 3 in your graveyard and banished by the time Turbulence hits the board.
Yeah, Rescue Ace Reload. Yeah, so like, this is a pretty good field spell design. You know, Konami seems to be experimenting lately with field spells that have, make all of your monsters towers because the deck you're playing is not useful otherwise, or is not good. Looking at you, Gimmick Puppet. I said it. You know it. But Rescue Ace HQ is it does what I think a field spell should do for the archetype. It gives you a decent blanket attack and defense modulation, a stat mod. It gives you an extra normal in a deck that probably wants it because a lot of their cards are based around having multiple Rescue Aces on the field at the same time and kind of like chaining together. And then also it just gets you your cards back. That's very reliable. They also did something very good with their spell and traps that I like. So all of these have cool names. You mentioned them before, like Alert, Contain. All of them have that parenthetical text that says this is always treated as a Rescue Ace card. So all of their spell traps get to keep their cool thematic names, but also still count as archetype cards. Konami should do this way more for not just for Summon Skull weird shit, but like using the parenthetical to set a condition. But keep the names.
Summon Skull is one of the funniest. It's one of the funniest slip-ups by Upper Deck's translation, because it was wasn't Summon Skull just, I think it was just Daemon, right?
No, it was Daemon Shokan, literally summoned Daemon.
Yeah, it was just summoned demon.
Yeah.
And they said, we can't call it a demon, call it Summon Skull. And then when other Daemon cards started coming out, well, those are Archfiends.
Yeah.
I'm amazed they just didn't rename it to being Skull Archfiend.
They basically have
rename it Skull Archfiend of Lightning, yeah.
Variation to Summon Skull.
Yeah, they come up with a bunch of different names to keep the line in, but I think the primary thing is just that you're forgetting that not only is that the name of a Yu-Gi-Oh card, but that is officially what Summon Skull was localized as in the anime, which got most children to buy this card game. This is also a thing we've talked about before with probably why Konami has been a little loosey-goosey on hitting some cards in the ban list. Like Firewall Dragon probably lived for as long as he did because he kept showing up in the anime. So they had to, do a very slow workaround, ultimately resulting in it being errated so that it still looks a lot like what it does in the anime, but is also not going to do any more FTK loops.
Yeah, and for reference, just because we're on the topic, the extra deck Summon Skulls are Archfiend's Ascent, Archfiend's Call, Archfiend's Awakening, Archfiend's Manifestation, but they do have this card becomes Summon Skull on the field, but it's still treated as an Archfiend card because of localization.
Yeah, it's a very funny one. But
a very funny
spell traps. First of all, we have Alert! It's in all caps and has an exclamation point.
Which this one is... It's a tutor.
Yeah. Which I think makes sense given this art. The art is a hydrant monitor is displaying an alert, and you can see a fire engine. So he's just like, let's go.
Oh my god, it's monitor running front leg in it.
No, it's the fire engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell by the saw blade arms.
Fire engine has
it's
has
fire
the
engine
saw
summoned
blade
forth.
Life and the battleizer arm cannons.
But yes, alert is very simple. It just says add a Rescue Ace monster from your graveyard to your hand, or if you control a hydrant, you can add it from your deck to your hand instead. You can only activate one alert per turn. So alert just adds back a card in your grave. If you have hydrant, it's add a card from deck.
Very important that it says instead.
Yes,
So
not both.
You have the flexibility of both.
Yeah, you can't add two cards, but you can still pick your graveyard if you want that effect. And next we have this means we could send. Oh, okay, it's fully hydrant from the back. His valve wheel is very big. This is Contain. This is Monitor. Just telling Monitor to put out that fucking fire.
All costs.
So, This is a normal trap. It says if you control a rescue ace monster, target effect monster your opponent controls. This turn, it can't attack and its effects are negated. If you control rescue ace hydrant, at resolution of this effect, that monster also can't be used as material for an extra deck summon. Fusion, Synchro, X, Caesar, Link. Contain is one of the cards that is the big fuck you of this deck. Like, Alert,
Nope.
It's a searcher. That's normal, you know? Contain is, it is a freezing curses type effect. You are negated and cannot attack. And also, again, if you control Hydrant, that card is now literally dead weight. You cannot even link it off.
9 times out of 10, if you're playing this deck right, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have Hydrant on the board when you resolve any of these cards.
Yeah, so, like, that is mean. Spicy card.
Yeah, you have just put this card in a box on the field. It is I'm trying to think of one of the things in the manga recently, in the manga that did that, but I can't now.
Yeah.
Like the Mask of a Cursed or whatever the fuck it was did that in the manga.
Yeah, I think it was a curse.
With the
Now our normal next E should be Extinguish, but I can grab Extinguish first. Emergency comes before it, but
did we skip? Did I just miss us talking about rescue? Did I space out?
what, the card that is Rescue? No,
Yeah.
we haven't got there yet. I probably should have done it in our ace order, but I just grabbed them in alphabetical order because that's how they're listed in the wiki.
All right.
But I will do Extinguish first because that's.
I guess I was like we did AC. I'm like, wait, did I miss R? What happened?
No, it's one of those weird cases where because ACE, the ace part,
Yeah.
like goes in order, but then the R would come at the end. But Extinguish, which shows Turbulence, putting out lots of fires. This is another of their normal traps. It says if you control a rescue ace monster, target an effect monster your opponent controls, destroy it. If you control Hydrant, your opponent can't activate that monster's effects or monster with the same name this turn. So
Now
this is a called by.
The way this card is worded, I believe by currently control, your opponent can't do anything about that once this card is activated, even if they chain to it. Because at activation, you currently control a rescue ace Hydrant. It is not. It is not at resolution.
Which is why Contain is worded that way. Contain is worded so that if you throw a Raigeki break or something, if you pop the Hydrant before it finishes resolving, you don't get the no effect materials. Extinguish is just nah. So you are target an effect monster, pop it, and then that monster doesn't float. Its effects can't be negated, and no monsters with the same original name can be activated either. Now that is original name, so cards that substitute don't,
your
it work
Phantom
that
of
way.
Chaos and whatnot.
But still, again, mean that you pop one and then effectively called by it. Like your opponent can't activate it or any more copies of it for the rest of the turn.
Very rude.
Yes. And this is like what we said, why like this deck really feels like it's just, hey, can you get to Turbulence in set 4 and you win? Because there's not a lot you can do about cards like Contain and Extinguish. Sorry, I don't know why we had a weird thing where like too many extra menus. They did add a second E in the same set that came with Preventer, hence why Preventer is on this card art. You can see it flying through the air. Once again, this city, very large, also very on fire. That's a lot of fire. How do people live in this town?
Well, because of Rescue Ace.
Yeah. I'm more than just how do they have places left to live?
They
So
build
much
them
fire,
back up.
guys.
They build back up fast.
Oh shit. We need the Earth Machine counterpart, the construction ace.
Wait,
I'm going to assume we work off the City of Townsville rules here.
No, it's Mega Cross.
Yeah. No, oh, fuck. Mega's XLR. No matter how much they get destroyed, it will be rebuilt quickly.
It's fine.
But so Emergency is a quick play, which, by the way, is currently unlimited in the TCG, but is also limited in the OCG. They really want you to stop playing Rescue Ace over there. Emergency says that it lets you special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your deck in defense position, then tribute a Rescue Ace monster from your hand or field. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Rescue Ace trap in your graveyard, set it. You can only use Emergency once per turn.
I imagine this card is the one hit because you don't have to have Hydron on board to get the extra effects, so it's just
Yeah,
better.
no, it's just this is just summon. Literally, this gets you Hydrant. I think is what it does. Is you the card you're summoning is probably Hydrant. I mean, it could also just go to Turbulence as well. But.
Yeah.
You say that, Ezra, my mind is immediately going to the Hydra going, help, help, there's jizz all over this city.
Jizukidu. I mean, I do actually think Jizukidu's card art does look a lot like this city, the background.
Help, a man has fallen into the river at Rescue Ace City.
Well, if he's in the river, he can't get
I can't do. I can't do it. It's too dumb.
But yeah, Emergency is a very powerful card because it has two effects, one of which is to banish itself from your graveyard, which once again doesn't matter because multiple cards in your deck, including Preventer, I think is special summon a banished monster, but still, you have the field spell gets back banished cards, so you don't care. To just set a trap card in your reset a trap card in your graveyard. Emergency is very powerful, and I think is definitely one of the targets I would find acceptable. I'm honestly probably the reason why you don't see this on the TCG ban list is because when they put Airlifter to 1 instead of 2, people stopped playing Rescue Ace.
Yeah.
They pivoted to Fire Kick Snake Eyes instead.
I have found an appropriate gift for my dumb joke.
You'll still see a few people rolling up with Rescue Ace because it is still an incredibly powerful control suite of cards. I think the main problem that conflicts with the Fuller Snake Eyes package is that Snake Eyes puts a lot of cards in spell and trap still, so you can't always be setting 4. But if you can set shit like this, it doesn't matter if you can only set 3 sometimes.
Yeah. And now we have our next one, and it is the R, the Rescue. Look at that lovely seaside. But we're summoning an Airlifter to rescue somebody.
He's in the river.
It's true, he is. So this is another quick play. And Rescue says, target a Rescue Ace in your graveyard. Or if your opponent controls, or if you control Hydrant, target a monster in your opponent's graveyard instead, special summon them. You can only activate once per turn. That's right, baby! Widow Anchor!
Give me that.
Is this?
Oh, is that a
newer
Diabell
card?
Star? I'll take that.
What were you
Is
asking?
this one of the newest spell traps?
No! This is their original R.
Okay, I only asked that because the mech they show, I was like, is that the blue guy?
Well, that is a blue guy, but that's Airlifter, who we started on earlier.
Okay. Oh, right, that was one of the ones I missed because I was.
Yeah, it was like one of the very first ones we did, but yeah, it's
That's okay.
yeah. So basically this is calling Airlifter to grab somebody out of something. But yeah, no. Again, this is like basically Widow Anchor. It is a really mean card.
Yeah,
Fetch a card, a quick effect to fetch a card out of your opponent's graveyard.
Omega, I just had the dumbest thought. Since they have hydrants all over the place, you know what that reminds me of? It's just the fucking keepers from Mass Effect.
They are kind of just the keepers from Mass Effect.
Assuming direct control.
That'd be the scary part. But yeah, no. Rescue also like it's so funny, right? That so alert, perfectly normal, regular ass spell card. Makes perfect sense, you know. Add a guy back from graveyard, add it to your hand instead, or add from deck to hand instead if you've got Hydrant. Cool. Then you have Contain Emergency Rescue, or Rescue Contain Emergency if you're doing the proper order. All of which are very mean cards to set.
Yes.
You are... Yeah, like, if you can set any suite of these cards, and we haven't even talked about, like, the last one is probably... I don't want to say the weakest, but it is the most finicky of our settable traps.
Yeah. The core
it is a battle trick.
The core 4 are really good. Like, alert is just a normal function that most Yu-Gi-Oh decks have, but contain Extinguish and Rescue give you a lot of really interesting flexibility. Because Rescue still also lets you just reborn from your grave also.
Yeah.
You don't have to steal an opponent's monster.
It's still like quick play. It's still a quick play reborn, which for a lot of these cards can still be just like, oh, this guy hit the board. Okay.
Yeah.
Like you've just plopped Airlifter on the board. You can either choose to just add a spell or just keep him there for your opponent and just dare your opponent to do anything.
Yeah. But the fact that it does let you y'all should know by now, been doing Yu-Gi-Oh content long enough. You know that I actually really don't like regular Monster Reborn even at 1. I know we want to for nostalgia. Monster Reborn as a card, as a Saki 1-of, sucks ass for you to do your entire run and think you've got your opponent beat, and then they're just like, oh, you've got a monster in your graveyard? That's my monster now. That's my starter. Like, just any old asshole from graveyard. And this is while it's an archetype card that requires setup, it's still, a searchable, settable from deck card that does it. And it's like, that's mean. Gnarly shit. So our last card is Reinforce. Reinforce. This was added later as well. This was in Cyberstorm Access. So again,
this is our battle trick of sorts.
This does mean that Konami has left themselves open that if they do need to give Rescue Ace other cards, which again at this point is probably not going to be extra support per se, but rather could be cards to replace the fact that Emergency is limit 1 and stuff like that. There's room for other cards that have A or C names,
Insert Halo 3 trailer here.
Yeah. No, he's bubble shielding. But Reinforce is a normal trap. It's a trap variant. It says target a Rescue Ace monster you control for the rest of this turn. That monster you control gains 1,500 attack and defense, is unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, and the next time it would be destroyed by battle, it's not.
Which can mean theoretically your Turbulence can hit 5k just by default.
Not enough to necessarily guarantee an OTK, but does basically mean that since it can't be destroyed by battle anyway, is unaffected by monster effects as well, is going to be hard to remove.
You've made a giant asshole.
And even then, even if you're only left with one of your littler guys, again, any card other than Hydrant, this takes even Impulse, who is your otherwise weakest guy, to 3k, because he's 15, this means that your opponent is not likely to actually beat over most of your monsters. But also, it has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Rescue Ace spell, set it. So, Emergency, can banish itself to set a trap. Reinforce can banish itself to set a spell. Good recovery tools. This is probably a card you play as, a funny one-of, just for an extra name, especially, again, if you're in the OCG when you can't run as many Emergency anyway.
A one-of you can always shuffle back, too, with the field spell, so you don't need to play more than one of this.
No, yeah, it's easily repeatable. Hell, you can, if you really need it back so badly, just dump your Emergency in the graveyard and then banish it so that you can, reset Reinforce as well. There's a lot of utility in here. And I think that's why this deck was so popular and was so meta-flexible. It's because you don't actually need to run 3x of everything. You probably run, 1 or, 2 or 3 copies of your really good, spells and traps just because you want to see them. You can just play Alert on your turn anyway. And you do need different names in deck to activate off Turbulence, but a lot of your shit is super recyclable. Max out on 3x of the field spell. Make sure you've got, your Spell Searcher to get your field spell. If you want to, you can be a little daring and play Planet Pathfinder. There's plenty of room in here to make it work.
In theory, Planet Pathfinder gets you the field spell, which then gives you an extra normal, so it's not the worst option.
It's not the worst. It's another card that is a machine in a level 4, so that might actually help your extra deck to have a couple of extra bodies. It's probably not optimal, but it works,
It is a Earth machine.
Yeah, so there's room in there for opportunity and options, especially because obviously with terraforming now banned in both paper formats, I believe, it's you got to be a little down bad. also Metaverse is a card you can play as well.
But
You know.
Terraforming's at 1, isn't it?
Is Terraforming still one of the TCG?
The TCG it is.
Okay, so it's Master Duel and OCG. I think it's out. Oh, no, it's Limit 1 in both the OCG. Wow, okay. So just in Master Duel, they decided to ban it outright. Still, Terraforming to 1, spicy. Also don't know how long that's going to last. But, you know, like, you have enough wiggle room with your engine. You stock up on your field spells, the classic, and you run through the moves. And you can get in there. It is also funny, like, I'm looking at the wiki here, and it's like, you can also use external engines, you know, Sinful Spoils and Diabellstar work because original Sinful Spoils, you know, gets you Hydrant, it's a level 1 fire. And also the SHS engine works. Wakaushi can search Airlifter.
Funny.
You can go into King Dempsey, I believe, is the line, and then you can search him out. So like,
I forgot. I completely forgot we got a Battle Unboxer Hajime no Ippo boy. I know Dempsey rolled before that, but you fuck it.
And I think the reason why this works is because Rescue Ace does something that's very rare these days for a good deck. It does not Xenolock you at any point because you're inherently a multi-type deck, your warriors and machines. There's no spot for a lock. You don't even have an archetypal extra deck, so there's no point in an extra deck lock, right? So it flows very well with engines, and I think that, like I said, this was a preview of where I think Konami was gonna go with decks. And it's a really interesting one because I feel like, you know, with Year of Fire and all that Rescue Ace and the engines that slot into it and other stuff, like, really took off. Whereas, you know, the other amazing defenders are, I mean, Pearly's still pretty good. They also got some cards in the limited and forbidden list, and they're just little guys. Also, shout out to Master Duel for, even though, I mean, it's why regular-ass Pearly is limit 2. It's because it's like a rare, but shout out for making Pearly and Pearly rares. Thank you, Master Duel. It's just all the extra deck cards that are super or better usually. But, like, Pearly's a really interesting deck that's kind of unique, and the one we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks now, Mikanko is a very modern ritual deck that has some very interesting, like... Mikanko seems designed immediately for a, like, blind second kaiju-type playstyle. It is a deck that one of their most prominent gimmicks is they bounce battle damage back to your opponent. So... you know, you've got a lot of weird opportunities there. A lot of people, I think, tried to upsell Mikanko. Like, a lot of people thought that deck would be very strong because they have access to an in-archetype Snatch Steal.
Yeah, and at the point Mikanko happened, Snatch Steal was like Snatch Steal was still seen as this holier-than-thou card.
Yeah. And it turns out that... we've had Snatch Steal back to 1 for 4 months of format, basically. I did see it in some side decks and some you know, currently topping lists, but it's basically just a different version of the funny Change of Heart one of, you know, it's not a card that actually breaks the game, especially since we put Isolde in prison, where she belongs. That means that your warrior equipped toolbox decks do not work as goo. But next week, because there's actually one more Tuesday in this month, will be, unless somebody sneaks in a vote who hasn't already in the next 20 minutes, will be Trap Tricks.
Yeah.
Which will be another fun historical one to talk about, because if you don't know, the T in hat stands for Trap Trick. So that'll be a very interesting time. But, yeah, Mikanko is a deck where, like, people really thought that was going to be, like... genuinely, I think everybody was like, oh, this might be the first, like, completely good deck build pack. And even then, Mikanko is still very functional. It's just not as juiced as Pearly and Rescue Ace. Yeah, and then after that is Wild Survivors. That will be very funny for me to talk about, because I've played half these decks. That's Nouvelle, Vanquish Soul, and Transcendosaurus. Get ready for a lot of fighting game jokes when we do Vanquish Soul.
Yeah, I mean, it's unavoidable with Vanquished Soul. That is
Yeah, it's
like
what they're about.
that. The entire archetype is themed around it, and they're very clearly like the entire lineup of that archetype like are very much they're very much themed around very archetypal fighting game characters.
And then Transcendosaurus, so we'll get to talk about huge dinosaurs. Transcendosaurus, I think, continuing the Year of Fire type stuff. They do have multiple attributes of monsters, but Meteorus and Xenometeorus and stuff being fire, I think, kind of helped push that along. And then as of this moment, there's only one more deck build pack after that, Valiant Smashers, which is Centurion, Memento, and Valmonica. They have not announced another deck build pack since that. That came out in November of last year. So the OCG probably should announce a new one. I don't think they have like a name. Let me see if there's one coming. No, it still says none on the wiki. So yeah. So we got several more months of this and more Patreon polls to tuck in there. But there's a lot of funny things going on. God, it's so wild to think about it. That's only a few months old. I'm actually waiting for Centurion to hit Master Duel. It can go in the other like 4 decks that I can't actually finish building because they have too many ultras. Oh my god, I've been trying to build pure Snake Eyes for literally fucking months, and it takes so many ultras.
Oh, is it not easier to like fill it up with Fire King or Infernoble?
We don't have the Fire King stuff yet. Ponix isn't in. I don't think Ponix is in Master Duel.
We don't have the little bird.
So yeah, no, you can't run Fire King Snake Eyes yet. It's just the Snake Eyes stuff. And the engine people usually supplement in is Kashtira. That's also grossly over rarity. Like I think most decks are running like 3 Unicorn. Who's an Ultra. Just for extra guys. So it's a weird case where like, cause Diabell, Poplar, and Flamberge are all ultras. I think a couple of the spell traps are ultras. Promethean Princess is an ultra, obviously. So like, it's a lot of dust.
A lot of the Snake Eyes package is big.
Bonfire is an ultra in Master Duel.
Yep. Oh,
so
is Bonfire out now?
Yeah, Bonfire's in Master Duel. They added I think a couple of selection packs back. It's Master Duel's wild. Their latest release is like all of the illusion stuff. We basically had complete Snake Eyes before illusion monsters got added.
Yeah.
You had all of Snake Eyes before they added the last couple Pearly cards.
Bonfire was added with the not the most recent, but the previous Blazing Fighters or something selection pack they brought out.
I think that had the new obviously new Volcanics, but also had the new Battling Boxers. We just talked about it. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so like a lot of the fire stuff starting to hit Master Duel now, and it's interesting. And yes, like I said, Loth, I do like the Chimera Fusion deck engine. Play a deck that doesn't lose to Pop 1.
Fuck you.
I mean, that's me anyway. I also play Lab. That's if a deck can set up a single pop, it's Lab.
I'll make sure to have the senator send my regards to that kind of play.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. We'll go for about 2 hours, so we don't need to go super long. I do kind of want to show these weird like free agent cards they've been cooking though in Legacy of Destruction. Let me grab that tab. Sure. Okay. I know. I moved the chat box over. So we just got a couple of guys that were shown off. Because Legacy of Destruction is basically out. If it's not already street legal, everybody's gotten preview packs and cracked it open. So we got some weird stuff. We have a world premiere illusion. That's cool. Voiburio, the Dragon Undertaker. He's a Dark Illusion level 10, 3k. If it battles, neither can be destroyed by battle. During your main phase, if your opponent, your monster controls is sent to the graveyard, you can activate the effect based on where this card is. Love that phrase. If it's in your hand, you can special summon it. If it's in the field, you can make an effect monster opponent controls lose 1500 attack, and then if it becomes 0, destroy it.
A Slifer effect.
Yeah. A funny little guy for illusion decks to work with. This is a card that yeah, it's all samples, it's not really a lot to see, but this is a card that's got a lot of people excited because she's a fire dragon in the Tenpai set. Aiza, the Dragoness of Deranged Devotion.
Ooh.
She's a level 4 fire dragon. She's got 1500 attack, 0 defense. If she is special summoned, put a deranged counter on a face-up monster your opponent controls. It can't be used as extra deck material. What has that counter? At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a card with the deranged counter, you can destroy that monster. If you do, both players take damage equal to its original attack. Destroy this card at the end of the battle phase. That part doesn't matter if you use a Tenpai effect to fucking synchro mid-battle phase.
I do like that she is basically just Ring of Destruction.
Yeah, no. With also being like a almost like a contain in her own way, you know.
Yeah, she's a lockdown into Rod.
Yeah. Which is very funny and will help. This is a Tenpai card.
Yeah.
A level 4 fire dragon with 1500 attack. She's a Tenpai.
And a battle phase quick effect.
Yeah. No, it's getting in there.
So it's like you activate the other effect before she gets activated. You do this part of a chain effect kind of thing.
Well, no, it's because it's at the start of the damage step you attack, so you attack first with her, and then before you... Because it's also destroy this card at the end of this battle phase, so you just don't end the battle phase with her on the board. You synchro her off.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of the Tenpai like synchro cards are like, if X number of attacks have been declared, do shit, so... This is just another good target for the deck, which it could actually
want to
be
keep
used.
synchroing during the attack. Like, you basically want to get as many, yeah.
And then, holy shit, it's another reptile link, Haggard Lizardos, a link to water reptile. Only got 800 attack. But he's technically generic, just 2 monsters with different names. We got the L-shaped arrows. Banish a monster from your face-up field or graveyard with 2,000 or less attack. Target a face-up monster on the field. Make its attack equal to the original attack of the monster banished. Until the end of this turn. If you banish the monster as originally a reptile, draw a card. This is a good Ragnarika card.
This feels like a part of a. This is like a mid combo card.
Oh my god, it's a link to reptile.
Yeah, it's a link to water reptile.
Reptile.
Which gives you advantage for banishing reptiles. So
that has to be a type. There has to be water reptiles.
I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure this goes in the new Ragnarika. Because that's the do tri-type, so this just...
I still think that's not a great name.
I think it's fine. I mean, they couldn't just go with Rika, because that's not anything.
Fair. I just think it's...
I think that Ragnarika correctly communicates the fact that in Japanese, the names were honestly, like, really edgy. They were actually, like, really intense, and so being, like... Because their names are stuff like Ragnarika Skull Soldier. Like they are actually kind of that way. It is a little wordier because it's an extra couple of syllables, but it's not an imperfect translation to be sure.
I also think Ragnarika still accomplishes like it accomplishes the aesthetic you're going for because it obviously it's very reminiscent of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of laymen still. Like the average Joe will still hear Ragnarok and think, even if they don't know what that means, it's a badass sounding name.
Yeah,
it's a badass sounding word.
So yes, Sorry, I'm looking at OBS. I'm trying to switch back to MS Paint, and it does not have the window for my paint program. It's very weird. It's right there. I switched it off, but there it is. Don't know why it left me. But yeah, so next time it will be Trap Tricks, almost assuredly, and then after that we'll round this out with the Mikanko run. We'll be heading the other great genre of Japanese children's television. We've had cute animals, tokusatsu. Now we're gonna do magical girls.
Yep.
Yep. Because that's how that goes.
I mean, it is what Amazing Defenders is.
I mean, that is basically the 8 to 10 a.m. animation block.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, and
it is our superhero time.
Let nobody deny that Mikanko are indeed magical girls. They're Miko themed, but they're absolutely magical girls. They got transformation sequences and everything. But we're gonna get on out of here. Thanks everybody for dialing it in. You know, we got some funny times ahead. Keep an eye on your Yu-Gi-Oh time and place. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. That's it for me. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And get ready for Fiend Link and 10 Pine.
Yeah.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.